Hey everyone, welcome to another top 10 list. This week's top 10 list goes off of what I just finished up. For those of you who watch every week, I just finished doing the top 100 notes of all time. And it took quite a few weeks to do that. And a lot of you were saying how difficult it would be to get some of those notes. Well, the impressive thing is how easy it is to get some of those notes. Some of the notes are millions of dollars, some of the notes are one of a kind, but some of the notes are actually quite affordable. So this week's list is going to be the top 10 notes that are the most affordable from the top 100. All right, so let's get started with this week's list. Number 10 on the list. Number 10 is the most expensive note on the list, and it is the 1886 $1 silver certificate. This is the Martha Washington note. The Martha Washington note is the first time that an actual named woman appeared on the notes. That's Martha Washington there. They used the same picture of Martha Washington on the back of the 1896 silver certificate with George Washington. But the Martha note, from 1886, you can see has the huge seal on there. I always find that giant seal to be really cool. It is a silver certificate, and it's also, if I remember correctly, it may be the first incarnation of $1 silver certificates. Before that, they had larger denominations, but they wouldn't go down to the one because we had $1 silver coins. We didn't need silver certificates. Taking a look at the back of the $1 note, you can see the green color. That's part of the greenback that you would normally see. Now, they did, in the subsequent notes, make a lot more white available. They said they did that to make it harder on counterfeiters. You would think that intricate pattern there on the back would make it hard on counterfeiters, but truth be told, that intricate pattern just tends to blur to our eyes. So for a counterfeiter to just print it blurry wasn't really that big of a deal. People didn't really notice. The Martha Washington note is number 50 overall out of the top 100. And you can get a hold of one of these for somewhere between, in decent shape, somewhere between $350 and $550. So that's number 10 on the list, the Martha Washington note. Number 9. This may come as a surprise to you because it's number 7 out of the top 100. It is the 1896 $1 educational note. The $1 educational note, you guys are pretty familiar with this. You've seen most of the educational series. The 1, the 2, and the 5 are the only 3 denominations they made for the 1896 educational series. And the entire series was yanked after only 3 years. The $1 note is called History Instructing Youth, and you can see the mother showing her son the great city on the hill. You can see the Capitol. You can see the Washington Monument, the Potomac River. You can even zoom in and read the Constitution. There's 23 names of famous Americans in history, not necessarily all presidents, but 23 names on this note. And there is Martha once again, so she makes an appearance on both of these, the first 2 notes. The $1 educational note. Now, this particular note, like I said, is number 50 on the, number 7 on the all-time list. And you can get one of these in decent shapes, somewhere between $300 and $500. You can pay a little more to get a really nice one. You can pay a little less to get a really rough one. But $300 to $500 is what you'd expect on this. That's number 9, 1896 $1 educational. Number 8 on the list. This is the, I want to call it the Dix note, but it's also the Dixie note. And I was also informed by my buddy Emmanuel from Emmanuel's Workbench that DIX in French would rhyme with kiss. So this would be the dis note, I guess you'd say. Anyway, the Dixie note, this is the Louisiana or New Orleans Citizens Bank of Louisiana $10 note. And this note is famous for having DIX on the back and is said to have given the South the nickname Dixieland. Traders that went down there were hoping to get a bunch of these notes, and they called them Dixies. And where do you get Dixies? Well, Dixies come from Dixieland. So part of the reason why the South is known as Dixieland. The Dixie note is number 22 overall on the top 100 list. And these you can find somewhere between $300 and $400. So that's number 8, the Dixie note. Number 7 on the list. Number 7 is number 67 on the official list. It is the $18.99 $2 bill, otherwise known as the mini porthole. I gotta upgrade mine. I've got one and I just kind of wrote it off that I had one, but it's due for an upgrade, that's for sure. The $18.99 $2 bill, the mini porthole, you can see has George Washington right there. I love this gigantic 2, the numeral 2 that's right here in the blue. Yes, it's the same as this, but the blue just makes it pop so much better. You have the blue seal also signifying this is a silver certificate. Taking a look at the back, you can see there's a lot of white in the back so that you could zoom in and be able to see any of the red and blue fibers. This one, like I said, it's kind of rough, so you're not going to necessarily see all that kind of stuff. And I think this one even has, yeah, like a tape mark here on the back, so not in the greatest of condition. But the $18.99 $2 silver certificate, you can find one of these between $200 and $375. And like I said, it is number 67 overall on the list. Number 7 on my list. Number 6. Number 6 is the $10 1922 gold certificate. The gold certificate from 1922, the $10 version of this. I always call this the Charlie Brown note. I know I'm goofy for thinking that, but that's just how I see it. It's probably the colors as well as the image. Anyway, the 1922 $10 gold note, when you look at the back, you got that bright orange or rust or gold, however you want to put it, just a very unique colored note. And these are actually very gettable. These notes here, let me see on the list, $10 1922 gold certificate, you can find anywhere from $175 to $325. So definitely in everybody's range. You can pay, once again, a little more for nicer ones, a little less for weaker ones, but it is number 96 on the top 100. So yeah, a top 100 note at a reasonable price. Number 6 on my list, the $10 1922 gold certificate. Number 5. Number 5 on the list is the $18.99 $1 silver certificate known as the Black Eagle. The Black Eagle is the $1 silver certificate that replaced the educational series. And if you can get one of these in nice shape, you'll really appreciate it. The Black Eagle itself is really cool. You've got both Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant. You've got the beautiful one in blue, the numeral there, huge seal like that. And this one, you can easily see the red and blue fibers on this particular note. This one's in real good shape. Checking out the back, once again, the wide open spaces like that. Now, the Black Eagle is number 16 on the overall list, and you can find these from anywhere from $145 to $175 in decent shape. Once again, if you want a nicer one or a graded one, you're going to pay more. If you just want to have one, you can get it for a lot less. But for under $200, you can easily own a Black Eagle. Like I said, number 16 on the list and number 5 on this particular list. Number 4. I've got both versions of this. This is the 1862 Locomotive note. It's the $100 Confederate States of America note featuring the locomotive. And the difference on the two notes, you can see right here, this has the steam going straight up, and this one has the diffused steam. So the 1862 $100 Locomotive note also has a ship in the background, by the way. It's just interesting seeing that as well. These were hand cut, these were hand signed. You can see they are hand numbered. They only made 492,000 of these, so they're not that prominent. There just weren't that many to be had, and that number was from 150, 160 years ago. So the fact that these are as cheap as they are, and both of these notes, either version of these are approximately the same price, just give or take a few dollars. What do I mean by a few dollars? Well, anywhere from 55 up to 125. And yeah, you can have number 27 on the top 100 list. So yeah, 55 to 125, this could be yours. If you get lesser conditions, you could pay $100 for both total. So yeah, another easy one you can knock off the top 100 list. That is number 4, the $100 Locomotive note. Number 3, this is number 51 on the list. This one is the spinner note, the 50-cent spinner note, fractional currency. I want to say 1874 approximately. 1869 to 1874, somewhere around that timeline is when this particular note came out. What makes it so interesting is that this gentleman right here is actually one of the signers. This is Spinner. Spinner is the one who designed the actual note, and since he was the designer, he said, well, screw it, I'm going to put myself on it, and he did. Now, his signature is one of the most ornate signatures you're going to see. This is a smaller note, so it's hard to see the signature. I've got other notes that show it a lot better than this particular note as a whole right there. So not in the greatest of shape for this particular note, but still one of the top 100, and like I said, this one is number 51 on the list. And you can find these anywhere from $60 to $95. So under $100, once again, another top 100 note. That is number 3 on the list, the Spinner Fractional. Number 2 on the list is the $1 emergency currency from North Africa. The North Africa emergency currency has the gold seal on here. Now, nowhere on the note does it actually say North Africa. You just have to kind of know. It is a silver certificate. It was designed as emergency currency for World War II. If the money had ever fallen into enemy hands, Congress can simply say anything with a gold seal is no longer going to be valid. That was the purpose for doing the educational notes. Nowadays, we use MPCs, military payment certificates, and those are only redeemable at military bases, thus making them pretty useless outside of a military base. The North Africa note, very familiar back on this, of course. The North Africa note is number 77 on the list. And you can find these for between $60 and $80. So that's number 2 on the list, the $1 silver certificate, North Africa emergency currency. And finally, number 1 this week. Also emergency currency. This is the Hawaii national currency, or emergency currency, I should say. Hawaii emergency currency has Hawaii here. They did the brown seal, and they also stamped Hawaii on the back. Now, this was used in Hawaii, and the thought was if Japan invaded Hawaii and tried to raid the banks, all the money, once again, could, with the swipe of a pen, just be rendered useless. So the Hawaii emergency currency, number 65 overall on the list, can be yours for as little as $50 to $65. So $50 to $65, you can have a top 100 note from that list. So yeah, just because it's a top 100 note doesn't mean it has to be ridiculously expensive. All of these notes can be added to anybody's collection, as well as numerous other ones. So just because it has that top 100 designation doesn't mean it can't be affordable. If you learned anything new this week, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading all your comments. If you have any ideas for a list, put that down below and I will see if I can get to it. Guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time.